Morning, student. Today we are going to learn about the last topic of the electrophoresis, and we have been left with a different type of electrophoresis apart from the zone electrophoresis and gel electrophoresis. This was the capillary electrophoresis. Apart from that, we will see the application of electrophoresis in all together. What is the application of this? So, what the remaining electrophoresis, if we look, is a capillary electrophoresis. The name itself indicates that the electrophoresis is carried in a capillary. So when you look into the diagram here, you can see here there is a capillary, and in that capillary I have just shown you that it is encoded, or it has been fused with the silica over the capillary, so that the migration of the ions happen in a proper way. And then we will discuss about the procedure. So when you look into the procedure of fused silica capillary embedded capillary electrophoresis, the migration happens here with the help of potential difference applied here. So it's an electrokinetic suppression method performed in a sub-millimeter diameter of capillaries. So you can see here it differs with respect to zone electrophoresis and gel electrophoresis. And in this, if we look, the migration of electrolyte under the influence of electric field and ionic mobility is parting into alternate phase with the help of non-covalent interaction. So if you look into the instrument where I have shown you the two vials which is carrying out a buffer, and then in that there is a dipping of the capillary, and there is a detector, and there is a computer system which help you in finding the what exact the separated ions are. So if you look in there, what you have to look into the two electrode, one is a positively charged, another is a negatively charged. So one is called source vial, another is called destination vial. So I have just classified these two into two different vial, and the first one, let it be the source vial, another is the destination vial. And when you apply the potential difference in between this, the respective cations and anions will move to their opposite based on their difference in the charges towards the electrode. If it is a positively charged, it will move toward the negatively charged electrode, and that's cathode. And if it is a positively charged, if it is negatively charged, it will move towards anode. And when you ask me how does the sample is being inserted into this, so sample vial is there, and the insertion of the sample is taking place here by dipping this capillary, and with the help of osmotic pressure the sample moves in. So this is how it moves. So what is basically the function, or what is the use of basically the what is basically the application of the capillary electrophoresis? So the capillary electrophoresis help us in many ways. What you find in zone electrophoresis, the spreading, right? So the collection is not proper, or there is a fusion between the two separated cations and anion is minimized here. Heat dispersion, if you look into the zone electrophoresis, the open term, or it is carried out in open space, so the heat dispersion of losing of a heat is very high. So it is improved in the packed ones. Capillary, if you look at the dispersion of a heat is in a closed medium, is much better in the open medium. It shortens the suppression, because the migration for, if you look into the surface area to which this cation and anion has to migrate is very less. So the suppression area is, the suppression time is very less here, and increases the efficiency. So basically the application of this, if you look into the application of basically the capillary electrophoresis, I have mentioned here, it is generally used for the suppression of steroids, suppression of complex drugs, and apart from the protein found in serum, urine, CSF, and many more. Apart from this, all this, the biological fluids and in the complex of drug, it is even used in forensic and therapeutic drug screening. And we have seen how it increases the efficiency. Here I have talked about the isoelectric focusing. So if we look into the isoelectric focusing, I go to the notes where I have talked about what is isoelectrofocusing. So when you look into the isoelectrophoresis, isoelectrofocusing, it is defined as such that the migration of cations and anions, or generally the proteins, happens till it attains the isoelectric points. Means the pH of the solution and the pH of the this cations and ions matches. After that the migration ceases. So when the migration ceases, when the isoelectric focusing matches, there is no further migration, and each of these cations and anion has gotten a different isoelectric point. So on that basis they separate it based on their pH contained in the cations, which matches to the solution or the acidic medium or basic medium in which you are carrying out this. So it separates the analyte according to the difference in the isoelectric points or pi value. Hope you have understood this. And capillary filled with a solution to carry ampollite, capillary filled with a solution to carry out ampollite and sample, and the anode end of the capillary is placed in acidic, or cathode is placed in the basic medium, and when electric field is applied, due to the presence of ampollite, it creates a pH difference or pH gradient in the capillary. So when you apply the potential different on this, the charged particles start migrating, and the migration happens till it reaches to the pH equal to their isoelectric points, and on that basis the whole of the system become neutral, and there is no further migration of cations and anions, and it gives you a point where the separation happen. So this is how the separation happen in the capillary isoelectric focusing. So let us see about the application now. So overall, if you see into the application, it is used in the forensic, generally for DNA fingerprinting of criminals. It is also used in molecular biology, generally for the finding out the size of the DNA, RNA and RNA of organism. It is also used in genetics, which gives you a clear picture to help you to prepare the DNA probing and genetic coding, right? And in microbiology, it is used for differentiate the size of the virus based on the presence of genetic material in that, or depending upon the difference of protein and RNA in that. And apart from that, this is also used for biochemistry, generally for particularly for protein and nucleic acid. And then it checks the purity. Sometimes it checks the purity of protein and peptide, that it contains the similar amino acid through which it is claimed to made up of. It also checks the molecular weight, isoelectric point, binding study, and it helps even in quantification. Apart from this, it helps us in finding out the contents of additives used in food and drug, because generally there is ascorbic acid or acidic or basic medium which is used in the preparation of the vitamins and fruits. It is also used for the separations of enantiomers from the racemic mixture, and there are many other uses apart from this, like you can find out the various organic acid like hippuric acid, oxalic acid, tartaric acid, and many more. And it can also help you in finding out the minerals, fatty acid, and carbohydrate. Thank you. Take care.